What is up, guys? It's Mitchell or Deity, and today is another sponsored Etheria restart video. Today I'm going to be going over, we just did a stream, and I want to go over all the different things that we talked about and came up with that, in my opinion, would change this game and make it infinitely better. So, to start off with, Epic 7 has a really good system in the game called the Moonlight Blessing. A lot of people's main complaint getting into this game is they don't have Lily. If they were to implement the Moonlight Blessing system into Etheria, it would solve that. So with the Moonlight Blessing system, the original 6 Moonlight characters that are or were available in Epic 7, they added to a list that you could choose one to unlock permanently. What they could do with this is add it to where you can choose between the characters Messiah, Lily, Heinrich, Shadow Sanya, and Mio, maybe? I don't know. Mio technically was out. Maybe it's 5. So Shadow Sanya, or even just 4. Just do Doki Doki. Sorry, 5. So Shadow Sanya, Doki Doki, Heinrich, Lily, and Messiah. Put all those original LD characters on the Moonlight Blessing to where, as you complete challenges, which they could just link it to the hyperlink challenges, once you finish this batch of missions, you fully unlock that character. And they can either give it to you as a loner character to where you can play with the character and utilize them until you fully unlock them. Just make it to where you can't upgrade them to certain points until you completed certain missions, and then once these are all done, you fully unlock that character. That would be the most ideal situation to where no matter what, everyone can have Lily, or if you got Lily, you could pick Doki Doki, or whichever character you're missing of LDs, and it's going to make the experience much better for the user because everyone had the option to get all of these, one at least, of these core characters that are kind of critical to the game. You don't have to have Lily to progress the game, but when you don't have her, I've noticed the general consensus is I don't want to play the game because I don't have her. So that's an easy solution to that. Now, the second thing, for new players getting into the game, you have the 14-day missions. Yeah, the first 7, you get Ling Lao. And then on day 14, that is a random SSR ticket. Over time, ideally, that would be switched to some kind of character selector to where you could pick any one character out of all the RGB characters that have been released to the game up until a certain banner, and then you could pick that. So that takes a lot of people who are like, I don't have this character, I don't have this character, it feels crappy to play. Now you can guaranteed get at least 2 of those characters that would be critical to progressing your account and playing PvP and beating all the Inferno stages and hardest content in the game. Now, next up, this is the most important change in my opinion, is the prowesses. The whole reason the game feels clunky, I think, in my opinion, is you have to have the Letitias to then unlock stats. What they, in my opinion, should do with this is move all of these over to the side. So you need to fully boost up all the power of your character, like your attack buffs and all these. You need to unlock all these first, and then it gives you the option, or not option, but the next upgrade past the final upgrade here of attack plus 10 would be the level 2 portion here. If they did this, it would make PvE easier because all your characters would have the max stats. But then these would just be the bread and butter finalizing your character. And that would make both PvE getting into much easier because you could boost up your characters. My solution to this would be, it's already super easy. You barely have to farm prowesses to upgrade these. Make these harder to upgrade, but then put these at the back. That's the only thing I can come up with that would, one, make the game feel smoother, because the current new player progression, I just made a new free-to-play account. When you're going through as a new player, you don't know what to spend stamina on or your stability to progress your account, or to progress your account. So you're going to be sitting at level 15 trying to get to level 20 to unlock the next chapter story. But you don't know what to farm because you've already got all your characters up to the point where you need Letitias to even boost them anymore. So what do you farm? Crappy gear that you're not going to use anymore? So by making prowesses, it would be that gap between level 15 to 21 to 23, and then the next gap up to 31 or whatever those level gaps are. You just farm prowesses and keep boosting up your characters to where they keep getting stronger, and it will make the flow of the game so much smoother for a new player experience. And it will take away a lot of the complaints about Letitias, because Letitias then drop in overall importance because you have all the stats you need. A lot of people are trying to boost up their skill 1s to get the extra speed. This 15 speed being locked behind every opening character you want to build, being locked behind Letitias, it just is a bad feeling. I think it's bad game design, and that slight change of just rotating these all over, I think would solve that. But again, it will make all PvE or content easier. So there may need to be some kind of balancing within that, and I think the balance would be make this harder. Now, the next thing is going to be going in to shells. Let's do shells first. I think shells are balanced. You guys can hate me for this, but the thing with shells is that some people are going to say, I've been farming shells for X amount of time, and I put a month of farming worth of stamina in, and I didn't get the shell I wanted. The thing with shells is you only need one shell. That shell is going to be usable forever. What I try to look at for the way that shells are done is they've already been unbelievably generous to us. The fact that you can imprint shells, so you boost a shell to level 40 and can then get a perfect shell and then take that perfect shell and put it on the level 40 already done shell, and you don't have to continually upgrade all of them individually, that's already super nice. And the fact that you can reconfigure a shell to where whatever shell you have, you can reconfigure and make that the shell that is perfect. Just keep reconfiguring until you get the perfect substats. They were so generous on that it's hard for me to go against the way they have shells done at all. They've already made the upgrade to where you get more resources out of selling these, but I know a lot of you are super frustrated, but there needs to be something in the game that's a long-term grind. Right now, what is it? Gear and shells? Those are the only two long-term grinds, and once you get the gear and shells, what are you grinding for? There's already people whose accounts are basically done. The only thing they're farming for is a couple percentage upgrade on a piece of gear or a couple speed upgrade on a piece of gear, and then their shells is a 1 speed upgrade on their middle or 1% upgrade to HP. It's such minor things that there needs to be something that's a long-term grind in the game or the game dies. People don't want to just log in to not feel like they're getting stronger and just go play RTA. That's how the game falls off a cliff and everyone stops playing it, because these kind of games are about progression, and once you stop progressing, the whole point of the game is not there anymore. So that's my opinion with shells. You can argue with me if you want, that's fine, you can have your opinion, but I think the shells are extremely generous and feel rewarding when you get that shell that has the perfect subs that you want. Now, one thing that they're going to do in the future is probably add Inferno 2, or the next difficulty after Inferno, to where you will have a higher chance of getting the exact shell you want. Right now, Inferno is extremely hard, especially in Goatsu. I do have a team set for that, but I'm not ready to. I don't really care about farming. I need the lighthouses, that's it. I've mostly just been farming Shadow Flame Hoyan, and they'll have the higher difficulty to get that. Now, the next thing, though, is going to be the modules. I think modules are super close to being good. The silver economy in the game needs a little bit of changes. So before we go into that, the change I would make would be investigations. We talked about this on stream. I think you should be able to sell your records. This is the most pointless thing to farm in the game. There's 2x events that allow you to farm this, but your characters gain experience by using them. So when you use the characters, why would you put books into them whenever they're going to level up anyway from just casual use? So what investigation farming should be is more of this, your shadow imprints for boosting of your characters, and 2, should be more of a gold farm. And the gold farm solution, when you beat this, it gives you 6,000 silver. 6,000 silver is nothing. There's no point to farm that. But if you were able to sell the books on top of that to where it makes it to where every run is like 40k, 30k or something, then you could build up your silver to then go upgrade gear. Then this would have a reason to farm and it would feel better. Just make it to where maybe it drops more of the shadow prints so you can make more 6 stars, but eventually you can have all your 6 stars done too. So this is a weird one that just feels pointless in the game. So with the 2x event, why would you ever touch investigations? Now, next up, the GP prowess, again, if they did the change earlier I was talking about to where they moved all the skill ups past the part of upgrading the stats, that's a perfect solution in my opinion, and just make it to where it costs a lot more to upgrade, like double the amount it takes to upgrade each skill, maybe even more, maybe double or triple the amount, to where 2x event prowess farming makes more sense. It's not that bad right now, but again, once you're going to get to a point where you have everything, and when new characters come out, you're just going to have the boxes from all the rewards. You just open boxes, you'll never farm GP outposts again. So in probably, 2 months from now, you'll never touch GP outposts. All your characters will be done, and then when a new character drops, you just open the boxes that you need to finish them up, and you'll never touch this. So there's some balancing that can be done there to where it is more beneficial to touch. Now, next up, Phantom Theater. We'll get back to modules. Make this a once a week thing. This is just a chore. There's nothing valuable about this. The fact that I'm supposed to come in here every day to earn an extra, what is it, 200,000 silver, 300,000 silver. I don't want to do that, really. So please make this a weekly thing. Raise the rewards to half of what you'd get from doing it every day. Just give it to us once per week and let us do it at any point during the week. Next up, Ember Trek. I like these. Ember Trek and Ethernet Rally, I think, are fine. Let me know if you guys have any suggestions of any of the things I've said so far, and maybe you want to contradict one of the points and make a different point as to what could be beneficial. But Ember Trek, I think you could change these, or don't need to change these. They're fine. They're a little annoying, Ember Trek, the RNG, but just bring immunity. Now, next up, the events. I think the events are perfect. The only bad event is the Champions Call event, where you vote on who's going to win the tournament, because you have to be playing during certain times of the day in order to vote. So that's just a disaster of an event, but every other one of these events is fantastic. On top of the events here have all been great. I think they have nailed it. The Chakra Ring, just the amount of resources you get, just log in, play for 5 minutes, do the couple of events, log out. Your account's gonna be great after like 6 months of stockpiling all those resources. So the last thing I want to talk about though is when you go to sell a shell, you are going to, for example, go down, just click a random shell. So White Fang. So if I were to sell a White Fang here, I'm gonna get 4 to 7 of the reconfiguration chips. So once you get all your shells figured out, reconfiguration chips are getting harder to get. That's a lot of people are saying that's kind of backlog. They're not able to keep reconfiguring the shells because they're out of the chips. So maybe structure that a little bit different, but overall I don't think that's a huge problem. But what they should do with that is with modules. Recycling a module feels so bad. So whenever you get a piece that you don't want, so like a 2-piece time weave, that sucks because it's a 12-piece set, and you want to sell this, it sells for 5,000 silver for one. That's awful. And when you have an upgraded piece, it sells for 35% of what you put into it. Also awful, but it's not the worst thing ever. I think it's fine. It gives a long-term where gear is kind of rewarding. So the more stuff you can throw in gear, you're not going to feel good about it because you're going to get more gear faster. So having a slower progression point in the game is great. That's why I think the pet portion is also fantastic, because everything else is really easy to upgrade. But what I think you should do here is add the currency that you can trade in for gear. So the module essence, I believe it's called. Add it just like pet store. It's 4 to 7 for each piece you sell. Maybe more, or probably more. But either way, somewhere in that range where you get a random number per piece you sell, and then you could trade in for gear. The problem with that comes into, if you go to the shop, you are going to have your module shop. If they change that, it would make it to where you only need to farm Doki Doki, and then you could sell all your pieces and then take your module essences and then trade it for the other sets. So the way to solve this is when you sell a Doki Doki piece of gear, a piece that drops from Doki Doki, you get module essence of a certain color. There should be 3 colors for this, and that way they don't want to make the game too easy. They want you to have teams for all Terramatan, Aurora, and Doki Doki. So have 3 colors, and when you sell a Doki Doki piece, you get this color. When you sell an Aurora type piece, so a Bulwark set or whatever, you get a red one, and these are based off of buying them. The color will be from what they drop from. So that's a somewhat way to solve this. I think that would be great, because the kickback for selling a module sucks, and having just the feeling of getting something back would be fantastic. It's not a necessary change, but I think it would be overall good for the game. So that's my opinion on some things they could change. Let me know if you think I'm an idiot. You probably do, but think I'm an idiot for some of these takes, or maybe you have other takes you'd like to bring up that could be great for the game. I know a lot of people disagree with me on the shell thing, but I'm just at a point where the game, I already see people, they're basically done with the game. All their characters are geared. They're not going to gear the couple characters they don't have. They're just waiting for new characters. So all they have to do is go in, farm for just basic minimum upgrades, and then play RTA. And that's not going to last long term. So they need to restructure a bit and then add some kind of additional content onto it. We're trying to think of what they could add, but I'm not sure, like some kind of additional customization on a character that, I don't know. Some of you aren't going to know what I'm trying to say here, but something to expand upon that's an extra grind to make your characters more, I guess, customized to your account would be ideal. So like the Awakening update Epic 7 had, and Raid Shadow Legends has the Awakening system with the Soulstone system there. I don't think that's a good put into this game, but something in between that, that's a heavy grind to where people still have something to work toward, because that's a whole thing with these games. If you're not making progression, it feels bad to play. So that's all I have. Thank you guys for watching. It's been Mr. Deity. I will see you all in the next video. Peace out.